our trench under the cover of darkness at 11 o'clock. I cannot but confess that we all breathed more freely on the receipt of that information. But unfortunately, the purpose could not be carried out. The Russians, by this time, evidently had realized our comparatively defenseless condition and utter lack of ammunition, for that same night we heard 2 shots ring out, being the signal from our sentinels that they were surprised and that danger was near. I hardly had time to draw my sword, to grasp my revolver with my left hand, and issue a command to my men to hold their bayonets in readiness, when we heard a tramping of horses and saw dark figures swooping down upon us. For once the Cossacks had actually carried out their attack, undoubtedly owing to their intimate knowledge of our lack of ammunition. My next sensation was a crushing pain in my shoulder, struck by the hoof of a horse, and a sharp knife pain in my right thigh. I fired with my revolver at the hazy figure above me, saw it topple over, and then lost consciousness. This happened, to the best of my recollection, at about 10:30 at night. Upon coming to my senses, I found my faithful orderly kneeling in the trench by my side. He fairly shouted with delight as I opened my eyes. According to his story, the Austrians, falling back under the cavalry charge, had evacuated the trench without noticing in the darkness that I was missing. But soon discovering my absence, he started back to the trench in search of me. It was a perilous undertaking for him, for the Cossacks were still riding about, and he showed me with pride the place where a stray bullet had perforated his knapsack during the search. He revived me, gave me first aid, and succeeded with great difficulty in helping me out of the trench. For more than 3 hours we stumbled on in the night, trying to find our own lines again. Twice we encountered a small troop of Cossacks, but upon hearing the trampling, we quietly lay down on the wayside without a motion until they passed. Happily we were not noticed by them, and from then on we stumbled on without any further incident until we were hailed by an Austrian outpost and in safety. By this time I was utterly exhausted and again lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, I was in a little hut where our ambulance gave first aid. Therefrom I was transported to the nearest field hospital. This, however, had to be broken up and the wounded removed because of the Russian advance. We were hastily put on the big ambulance wagons without springs, the jolting of which over the bad road caused us such suffering that we should almost have preferred to walk or crawl. We tried to reach the railway station at Karmano, but found a Russian detachment had intercepted us. In the streets of the village a shell burst almost in front of our wagons, making the horses shy and causing a great deal of confusion. We had to turn back, and after a long and wearisome detour reached our destination, the troop hospital in Sambor, in a state of great exhaustion. There I remained but a day. The less seriously wounded had to make a place for the graver cases, and being among the former, I was transferred by hospital train to Miskolci in Hungary. The same crowded conditions prevailed here as in Sambor, and after a night's rest I again was put on board a Red Cross train en route to Vienna. We were met at the station by a number of Red Cross nurses and assistant doctors. To my great joy, my wife was among the former, having been assigned to that particular duty. A short official telegram to the effect that I was being sent home wounded on hospital train number 16 was the first news she had received about me for fully 4 weeks. None of my field postcards had arrived, and she was suffering extreme nervous strain from the long anxiety and suspense which she had tried in vain to numb by feverish work in her hospital. I remained 2 weeks in Vienna, and then was transferred to the sulphur bath of Baden nearby, where large hospitals had been established to relieve the overcrowding of Vienna. There I remained until the 1st of November, when I was ordered to appear before a mixed commission of army surgeons and senior officers for a medical examination. 2 weeks later, I received formal intimation that I had been pronounced invalid and physically unfit for army duty at the front or at home, and consequently was exempted from further service. My military experience ended there, and with deep regret I bade goodbye to my loyal brother officers, comrades, and faithful orderly, and discarded my well-beloved uniform for the nondescript garb of the civilian, grateful that I had been permitted to be of any, if ever so little, service to my fatherland. The End of 4 Weeks in the Trenches, The War Story of a Violinist, by Fritz Kreisler. Recording by FNH. Please visit www.bookranger.co.uk.